Pit lane, we will have Ben Constanduros and Alex Le Gui, and our field of drivers getting ready to head out on track for the first of our 3 phases of qualifying. And Matt, they had testing yesterday in these conditions, and that's been the fastest we've seen the cars go so far, so we should see quick times again this morning.
That's right. Good morning, Martin. It's it's a new circuit, new country for it's the first FIA Grade 1 circuit in Thailand, so that's a big new thing for not just for World Touring Cars, but for Thailand and the world stage in general. But we're going to have a busy day today. We've got qualifying this morning, and then we got the 2 races this afternoon, going into dusk for the second race, which will be nice and neat for us to watch. But it's going to be busy. The track's going to change dramatically through the day as the ambient goes up. It looks like we've got a Scorchio one, as you would put it, one ahead. So yeah, track conditions are going to change, as are cockpit temperatures, as are engine temperatures, tyre temperatures, everything. So it's
everybody feeling and looking fairly fresh at this time of day. However, after the heat of the day, by the time they get to the end of the races, I think they'll be feeling a little bit less fresh. Alex Le Gui down there in the middle of the action by Norbert Mikulis. Trouble for Stefano D'Aste, having a turbo changed after yesterday's qualifying session. So he, after yesterday's free practice session, so he may well be late going out into qualifying. Hopefully the boys will have that sorted sooner rather than later. Everybody else getting ready to scramble and get out early. And
interesting view there, just looking into the larder. We've obviously we just had a quick look in the Citroen with Ivan Muller, and they've got one of the new FIA head restricting nets in, but they're not running in the larder, so it's meant to be coming in mandatory. Yeah, we can see it in the Citroen here. Since the Alan Simerson fatality at Le Mans 2 years ago, it's to try and stop whiplash from the 2 o'clock hit if you get a big one into a hard impact. But going to be made mandatory across the FIA. Obviously not quite yet. It's something they're on about talking of introducing to BTCC as well. Yeah,
so everybody's running the door window net, if you like, even though they've got windows. But as you said, not everybody is using the internal restraint.
Yeah, some drivers are pro it, some drivers hate it. I mean, I've sat with it in the car and I don't like it. It's a lot of it restricts movement and restricts vision when you know, you're quite a physical, mobile environment in a touring car. You've got to have your wits about you from people diving down your inside and all sorts. So
Tim Sritrai, our first ever Thai driver in the World Touring Car Championship, makes his debut here. One of only 2 men who have raced on this track. The other also at Campos, and that is Hugo Vallant, who came and raced here for Campos in the TCR Touring Car Championship race here a week or so ago. Well, hot and dry conditions, the forecast for the weekend. At least starting dry, hot and humid, and therefore fairly sweaty, I think, for everybody. It is definitely shorts weather. Alex has been brave, he's gone with black jeans this morning. But I suppose if it works for the Berbers in the desert, can't be too much wrong with black. I don't think they go with jeans. So, first period of qualifying then, as we get cars heading out on track. As ever, 20 minutes in which all cars can go out and set times. The fastest 12 will then move on into Q2. From 13th on down, you set your position for both races for the weekend. And we'll deal with what happens in Q2 and Q3 when we get there. So remind me, I shall make a note, but when I've forgotten, just shout at your telly and we will tell you. Jose Maria Lopez edging ever closer towards the championship, 75 points ahead of teammate Ivan Muller. That's an entire weekend and a half in front, and there are only 2 weekends left counting this one. So essentially he needs to win 1 race and take 1 pole, and he can't be caught. However, I don't think he'll be counting chickens. This is a new track, new to everybody, new to the teams, new to the cars, new to the drivers. And so I think this is just a weekend, really, Matt, for getting your head down, concentrating on what it is you're doing, and not worrying too much about whether or not the championship comes here or whether it comes under the lights in Qatar.
Well, they always say if you go looking for something too hard, it's you know you're going to lose your grip on it. But there's he's 75 points in front, Lopez, and there's 110 still up for grabs. So all he needs is one bad weekend, and it's suddenly game on again. So you know he's feeling a little bit nervous at the moment. He's feeling a little bit of pressure, and he shouldn't be. He should just stick at his game. He's been on top form for the last
2 years.
Yes.
Since he arrived. I mean, since he arrived in the championship, and since he arrived in the championship full-time, he's been brim full of confidence. When he first came in the opening race at Termas de Rio Hondo, he had nothing to lose, and as a result had felt no pressure and no pain, and ended up winning a race. And since he joined the Citroën team again, third man in a three-car team that featured a 9-time world champion, a 4-time world champion, no pressure at all on him. And he has just turned into this golden boy for Citroën, who has just produced a world championship in his first year and looks almost certain to produce one in his second. It would take a remarkable stroke of very severe bad luck for him. And it has to be bad luck. If Arne can't overhaul him by beating him in races, it has to be really crushing bad luck that's going to stop him scoring in 3 of the remaining 4 races.
He's
pushing hard early on, isn't he?
He's pressing on, but that's Lopez, isn't he? I mean, we go on about him feeling pressure this weekend, but he has been fastest in both official free practice sessions so far yesterday. So he says he's feeling it, and his ear problems and all the rest of it with his tinnitus, but still doesn't slow him down much, does it?
No, not much does seem to slow him down. Final checks being made, but the engine is running for Stefano D'Asti at Munich Motorsport, so hopefully Dominic Greiner and the boys have got a new turbo on. There's Victoire, Jose Maria Lopez's fiancée. So he's an Argentine, she's French, and they live in Switzerland. Go figure that out. They live just outside of Geneva, actually, so at least it is in a French-speaking canton. Yvan Muller and Sebastian Loeb battling each other for second in the Drivers' Championship. And so far, it does seem to have been Loeb that's had the upper hand. He's adapted a little quicker, and I wonder whether all of that rallying gives him an ability to learn tracks a little bit faster. I don't know.
I think Loeb's he's been on a bit, he had a slow start to the year, didn't he? And then he seems to have picked his heels up in the last sort of half of the championship as we've been going on. He's Lopez, you take Lopez out of the equation, but Loeb has really sort of pulled his socks up, and he's taken the fight to Muller.
Yeah.
Definitely over the second half of the season, you'd say he's almost finding his niche in touring cars now. Because it's not an easy thing, because it's, we're saying it's not about driving fast, it's how you make that car dance, which he can do, still in his head in a rally car, but these are a different kettle of fish altogether, and so it's just finding out what makes that car tick.
He does seem to be finding that balance and that rhythm, doesn't he?
Slowly, I think it's almost the penny's dropping.
Alex is busy periscoping, as you can see down there in the pit lane, so if you do have Periscope, go and look for Alex Legui, Leg-O-U-I-X, and remember what her Periscope name is, but I'm sure you'll find it. She's on live at the moment from qualifying in the pit road, so that'll give you a good view that you don't normally get on your TV screen. Norbert Mikulis leading our Yokohama Independence Trophy at the moment by 25 points from Mehdi Banani. Now, Banani's been very quick this weekend, as has Norby. Tom Chilton, third place. He's about another 26 points adrift. But Tom's just struggling a little bit for pace again this weekend. He went very quickly in free practice 2, though, and has popped up the top of the Q1 pile. here is his teammate, T'other Tom. Oh, no, and he's shaking his head again. Another miscue in qualifying. Come on, guys, what's going on? Tom Coronel and the team seem to be incapable of putting a good qualifying session together.
You'd have to say that Michelitz and Chilton have gone for new tyres already just to make sure they get into Q2. But
go hard, go early in case the track goes away.
Yeah, the Citroens are, I would say, almost certainly gone on scrubbed tyres so far. But they're at the back end of the bubble, so I think they are going to have to take new covers before the end of this Q1.
Lapierre on his outlap, missed part of free practice 2 yesterday after an off at the end of free practice 1 when the right front collapsed into the first corner, or third corner it is, the hairpin at the end of the long straight. Stefano D'Aste, is he out of the pit lane yet? Is he on track? Yes. So he is on his outlap, but Tom Coronel has yet to leave the pit lane.
Well, Coronel set a ballistic first sector 1. He was quickest of anybody out there, and then suddenly he's whether he's run into a problem in sector 2 halfway around the lap.
Tell you what, he's going to go another ballistic because the tyres that they've got there are not going on. Now, does that mean they've got a brake issue, or have they put the wrong tyres on the wrong car and then they're marked wrong and they realised when they were going out, or what's going on there? Something quite dramatic happening, I'm afraid.
Lapierre's car all back together after its woes of yesterday, of braking issues where it ended up in the wall. So he's still yet to set a time this morning. So
Montero and Tarquini, same deal for them with the Castrol Hondas. They've just gone out as well. So they were waiting for the track to free itself up a little bit after everybody's had their first foray. So they'll get, well, what are they, 10 minutes in, they'll get a nice free track, and it can't be that much slower, if any, than it was 10 minutes ago. And this is not Dover Downs, it doesn't change that quickly. And Lapierre, fastest of all in sector 1, 28 thousandths up on Tom Chilton. Lapierre could be just a little extra breath of fresh air that this programme needs, somebody coming in with different ideas from another different set of projects and parameters. And certainly we've seen Nico Lapierre has been, he's had a relatively quiet first part of the season, but since Le Mans he's basically driven something different almost every weekend.
Lada could set a new record this year, couldn't they, for the amount of drivers they've had in any one team in one season?
Oh, I don't know. Yes, that's a good point. Mind you, they have had, you know, they've gone through a few over the years. So 60 thousandths behind Chilton out of sector 2. Sector 2 is predominantly a very long straight and 2 fast lefts out of the hairpin. Sector 3 is all the rest of the twiddly bits, in which we are now, all the way to the line, and that actually might suit the Lada rather well.
Good lap so far.
97 thousandths behind, that's good. So Lapierre and Huff and Catsburg, 3rd, 4th and 5th. Right, can we stop qualifying now? Gabriele Tarquini, 15th, Thiago Montero, 16th. Tarquini, by the way, with a 5-place grid penalty as well for a fairly high degree of biffery of other drivers in Shanghai.
Well, at least it's not as bad as Jenson Button's 70-place grid penalty.
Yeah, so Gabriele's got a few more incidents to have before he racks up that sort of, And you know, the thing about all of that is that none of that comes down to anything that Jenson or Fernando have done. You know, 50 places, 70 places, it's just. And we all understand the basic principle of why it's all there, but...
You were trying to come up with a description there without swearing about it, weren't you?
Well, no, it's
Which
just...
is difficult.
You understand that to stop people having qualifying grenade engines, you have penalties for engine changes, and to stop people breaking the rules that you've got to last 5 races or 8 races on components or whatever, you have severe penalties for people who just, you know, let's say, don't care about the money and just flaunt the rules. But then when you're trying to develop a new car and engine package, as McLaren Honda are, you're never going to make any progress, no matter how quick the car is, if you have to start on the back row of the grid for every single race because you're changing bits. you know, there you go. Katzberg fastest of all at the moment, so the track is certainly still giving plenty of time up. Nicky Katzberg is going to go top of the pile, 41 thousandths up, 45 thousandths up, no, 3/10 back. Looks like he's had the best out of those tyres. Maybe a mistake that we didn't see.
Riders well up the well up the food chain at the moment with first part of qualifying gone, if they can hang on there. But obviously the Citroens are going to come back at them, as are the Hondas. So
you would expect so. I mean, it will be a very big surprise if Citroen don't produce some quick laps. That will lead to a very interesting Yves Maton moment, though, which I'm not quite sure who'd draw the short straw on that if none of the Citroens went through in the top 12. Still only had 16 cars on track, so who have we not seen? Coronel. Dastay's not set a time.
18 cars total.
No, 19. Didn't we have 19? 18, there you're right. So Coronel and Dastay.
Well, have we seen Citroën? Yeah.
Yeah.
Citroën
is there in 13. Only just off the bubble, mind you. Tarquini, Lopez and Marr, you would think will go quicker. Where's John Philippi? Third. Loeb goes fastest, there you go. Banani goes quicker, Marr goes quicker to second. That's where the fast Citroen laps have come in, so they've all put a lap in on tyres now. Lopez goes to the top. And where's Muller? Come on, where's Muller's lap? Ivan must be half a lap behind. And you know, that's sort of been his way as well, hasn't it? Okay, you can go off and do what you're doing, and I'm going to be half a lap behind and just plough my own little furrow slightly. But Muller at the moment is only 14th. This doesn't look like a 14th fastest lap that he's on. That's a lap of intent, Matt. That car is being worked hard.
Yeah, the Citroen, I mean, they are skipping and jumping into these braking areas. The circuit is obviously a fair few undulations. It's saying that all the cars are doing it, and the Citroen does seem as though it's handling it better than, you know, the damping looks a lot more efficient than something of the Hondas and the Ladas.
I'll tell you what, a MotoGP race around here will be fun, won't it?
Are they coming here?
I think that is certainly the intention, or the hope, that they're going to get MotoGP here. I don't know if it's on next year's calendar or not. I think everybody's been slightly distracted from next year by what might happen next week. But this looks like this could be a really good... I mean, Motorland Aragon is a sort of strange track for bike racing, but perversely it works. And this place... This could be really good fun.
This is either exactly what Muller wants, with a nice big toe down the 1K straight, or like Tom's
well, you see now, he had a clean lap and he didn't get it, unless we were seeing him building up to speed on the tyres. But, you know, we picked him up corner 4-5 and he was pushing on hard there. I don't think the tyre will last another lap of that maximum attack.
Yeah, Muller
no, he's 1.08 away in the first sector, so that was Muller's quick lap.
Yeah, he's languishing down in 14th at the moment when Citroen's occupying the other top 4 places. So
5 minutes to go. He hasn't got much time to play with, really, has he?
He needs a bit of traffic on this one, or he will have.
Well, he was a second off in the first sector, Matt. It doesn't matter what the rest of the laps like. The first sector's no cop at all. If that was genuine, he was a second off.
He was a second off.
Yeah. So we got...
We definitely don't want an unhappy Frenchman.
Just trying to earwig there into what the engineer was saying. And I'm not sure whose engineer it was who we could hear either, couldn't see. But Lopez, Banani, Marr and Loeb, 4 Citroens in the top 4, and then Muller rounding out the Citroen quintet in 14th.
Coronel's made it out now, but it's a very slow lap.
Well, this is his out lap, isn't it? And something's rattling under the car. And Dastay hasn't left the pits at all, so Dastay will start last for both races, and at the moment, so will Coronel. I don't think it was the tyre problem. That's what the problem was. Coronel's got no brakes. That's why those front wheels were not on, and why he was beating his head on the steering wheel. He's got no brakes.
Yeah, you could hear him cadence braking there.
There was nothing there. That was him pumping the pedal because it had gone to the floor, wasn't it? Because that, you know, he's coming into the pit lane there. Drivers don't lock up when they're cadence braking. In the wet, maybe, but in the dry here, that was him.
On the limit.
Yeah, but he wasn't in the limit coming into the pit lane.
Well, he's probably, maybe he aborted and came into the pit lane.
Yeah,
maybe
he had no option. Maybe he just wasn't going to stop. That had all the hallmarks to me of him pumping desperately at the pedal, and when you get that, when it stops going to the floor and you get that pressure, that's when it grabs.
No, they will feel that you can. Yeah. A lot of the time you can sort of feel when it is going to lock up, and you can start modulating that pressure just to try and.
But only if you've got a constant brake pedal. I wouldn't mind betting that his problem is that the pedal just went to the floor. And he's
I bet
got no
he was
brakes.
shouting brake, brake, brake at the time.
I bet he was, and I bet he wasn't even using those words either.
Oh, a bit of wind going on.
And I bet he was being very rude in English as well, rather than Dutch. I'm afraid Tom is going to be...
So which Citroen is that who's just gone out? Because we didn't quite catch that. Because he's... Citroen, you've got Citroen's top 4 places. So
they were all
I don't see why they need to go back out again in Q1.
Our timing screen will update
itself.
Oh, we'll find out in a minute, won't we? Because he'll come on the straight.
Muller's got less than 2 minutes 30 seconds.
Who went in for it? Wasn't Banani's car. He was the first of the Citroens to go, and I think that might have been Lopez.
No, Lopez was sat in there.
All right, in which case it may have been, I don't know. Well, it'll be Logan Marlow, won't it?
Gabriele Tarquini well out the...
Yeah, Tarquini's out, Muller's out, Coronelli's out, Montero's out.
Some big hitters, isn't there?
Yeah, well, the entire Castrol Honda team for a start. Not sure Thiago's got much time to be weaving and warming the tyres up, and nor has Gabriele. Where's Norby? He's only 10th as well.
He's not comfortable. He's on the bubble.
Have they not had a new tyre run? I know Gabriele's always last out. None of the Citroens has left the garage. It must have been Muller came in for an adjustment and went straight back out, because look at the other 4. They're all parked there at the top of the pile. They're all sitting there twiddling their thumbs, going, nah, not for me, mate.
I'm just adding a bit of wing to it. It can't be that.
Must have been
loose. Can't be that.
Nicolitz goes 8th. So now out is Montero and de Moustier and Muller, because Tarquini's gone 11th, but Thiago didn't improve. So Thiago must be on a lap. Norby behind Gabriele. Gabriele's done what he can do. There's Thiago's lap.
Tarquini's dangerously on the bubble.
Yeah.
He obviously thinks he's had the best out of his tyres.
Nico Lapierre, from being second fastest, is now down the bottom. And Muller has been pushed down by Schrittray. The Thai driver has gone quicker than the 4-time world champion.
Ooh, bit of track
all 4 wheels off. That's got to be, is that Nico Lapierre or Nicky Katzberg? Couldn't quite see which.
Interesting.
This is one of the more entertaining Q1s we've had in a long while.
Yeah, it's smoking a lot there, as the same as Michelitz's was in free practice.
Maybe they've got the wrong emissions chip in it. Well, that's not them, is it? So Thiago goes 8th, right, and saves his bacon and puts Gabriele on the bubble. And checkered flag is out. Katzberg, so it wasn't. It was him that went wide.
He's not going to do this, you know.
Muller. What's Muller's sector times looking like?
No, he's not through sector 1 yet. He's just starting the lap, but
yeah. Right. That's turn 3, so he's out of sector 1.
Well, he's got to be carrying some major problem, because he should do this.
This is Muller. No, that's 9, 10, 11. So this is sector 3 he's in.
No, he's not.
Yeah, he is. This is the last corner.
Well, his sector times haven't been coming up. Yes, you're right. You're absolutely 100% right.
I'm making a note in my diary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Muller takes the checkered flag in 12th. Right, who's on a lap?
Tarquini's blown it.
Who's going to bump him out? There is Schrittray behind, coming across the line. Coronel's out, Daste's out, Demustier's out, Schrittray's out, Lapierre's out. That's it.
Tarquini's out.
Nobody can depose Muller. So Tarquini 13th. And there's Coronel's car. I told you something sounded loose. It sounds like the floor's vibrating horribly. Has he got any brakes? Doesn't matter.
That sounds awful, doesn't it?
I don't know what that is.
Sounds like they used it when you used to sellotape a playing card onto
into your bike spokes, yeah.
That's under tray, that is.
It sounds like it's something, vibrating at speed. Blimey, Gabrielli, 13th.
First big scalp to go.
Oh, plus a 5-place grid drop.
Well, he doesn't care then, does he?
Last on the grid, no, but...
He's not a happy champion.
Yeah, but if he could have got into Q3 and only dropped to 10th, then he'd have been on pole for race 2. No, because he wouldn't, he would have been... Oh, anyway, whatever. Yeah. So he's properly stuffed for both races. Nico Lapierre with a silver helmet bails out of his larder. And our timing screen's gone off. Things.
Disappointing for Demoustier as well in 15th.
Oh, picture, hang on a minute. Take a photo of the timing screen so we've got it for the next session. It's all high tech.
I've done it.
Oh yeah, you've done a screen grab, haven't you? Yeah. Well, listen, Lapierre, I don't think so anything to be overly worried about. His friends Morica immediately go over for a quick chat.
And Stefano Dasti not even setting a time.
No,
so.
Well, we saw the engine running and they were trying to make sure that nothing was leaking from his changed turbo, but I'm not sure that it was all as together as maybe it ought to have been.
Now, Muller has got... He needs to find a minimum of 2 places here before they can spend a night. So at least he gets the one grid with the reverse grid before they can spend a night sorting his car out, because he's obviously...
What night?
Oh, yeah, good point, yeah.
No, we're already into Sunday. We're in race day.
OK, a few hours.
Yeah. Well, no, you can't. It's in Parc Fermé.
Till the race, or for an hour?
Sadly, we've spent a bit too much time in Nico Lapierre's pit this weekend. Nico out of Q1, 3/10 slower than Casbird, 6 back from Rob. Where's the pace?
I don't know. We had a good pace yesterday, and obviously today was not good. We had a lot of understeer, so we need to find out what happened. Very disappointed, yeah.
Is it in terms of the track conditions being different at each session?
Yeah, it's a bit hotter than yesterday morning, but nothing very, very different. So, yeah, we need to understand what happened. But, yeah, the race will be long and will be tough, so I hope we can get back.
And how are these tyres going to cope with the temperatures of this track and the demands?
It's not too bad because there's not so many slow corners, so it's not too demanding on traction, but obviously the temperature is very, very high. So it will still be quite demanding for tires, drivers, and the cars as well, yeah.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
See, he talks well and he downloads the data well, Nico Lapierre, and that's clearly one of the things that that the Orica team like.
One man down here who I imagine is extremely disappointed with that. Gabrielli, probably not what you were expecting.
Yeah, after yesterday Free Prizes 2, I was quite happy with my setup, but we never test new tires. With new tires, the car didn't work like I expected. I was really surprised. I tried to react, but in 20 minutes, you have no time to react, and for this, I'm out. I mean, I plan to play for the 10th position because I have 5 position penalty on the grid, but didn't work.
Really disappointed for you. Thanks, Gabrielli.
Well, that is a shame, and as he said, you know, the grid penalty only applies for race 1, so shooting for 10th place would have seen him 15th on the race 1 grid, but on pole for race 2, a chance to do something. As it is, unfortunately, having just missed that window, he'll be taking no further part in qualifying. He'll start 13th for both races, ahead of Nico Lapierre, Greg Demoustier, Tim Schrittray, and then Tom Coronel and Stefano Daste. So the final 4 cars on the grid are all RML Chevrolets, which will not please the men in Wellingborough one little bit. Jose Maria Lopez was fastest. Tom talking to Alvin, yes, for his blog. So if you follow Tom Coronel on any social media, you will find out what happened afterwards. And we'll have to find out as well ourselves afterwards, because can't quite hear what he's saying there. So Lopez, Bernani, Filippi, Marr, Loeb, Chilton, Vallant, Huff, Montero, Mikulis, Katzberg and Muller go through. 2 of our 3 Ladas, all of our 5 Citroens and 2 of our Hondas. Now I did mention, didn't I, that we would explain Q2 and Q3 when we got there. So Q1, everybody, free for all, fastest 12 move on. Q2, fastest 12 go out. It's another 10-minute, not 20-minute session, and again you try and set the fastest lap you can. The fastest 5 from this will go through into Q3, which is a single car, single lap, super pole if you like, shoot for glory. The deal with the remaining drivers is, in this session, you essentially set your grid position for race 1 and race 2 unless you're in the top 5. So from 6th down to 12th is how they will start race 1. 11th and 12th will be 11th and 12th in race 2 as well, but 10th position will be on pole for race 2. And the top 5 positions, the final shootout decides the top 5 on the race 1 grid, and then the man who gets the fastest time of all will start on pole, and he will be then 10th for race 2. Simple. It's taken me almost an entire warm-up lap and half a qualifying lap just to explain the rules of the situation. We've now only got 7 minutes of qualifying 2 left.
Yeah, did you forget to say about the points for
I did forget to say about the points, yes. So 5 points for the fastest man in Q3, down to 1 point for the 5th man in Q3. So yes, more Brucey bonuses available for qualifying.
Lopez exploring the limits there, the track limits.
Now, if they change the rules, is it now a single car shootout all the way through Q2 as well? Or is just nobody else bothering? Either that or the cameras are only picking up Lopez.
Lopez is the man on form. Let's see what he can give us.
You can see
lap time out.
More Citroens behind him.
38.4 is solid, but is it solid enough? Because there's a fair few capable of getting down into those low 38s. Muller, there we go. They've obviously found the problem and sorted it.
Now, unfortunately, as you can see, no running clocks, and our timing screen is dead as a dodo as well. So
38.1 off Muller is about the quickest time around this circuit since we have been here. So
yes, it is. I think testing was 38.3. I'm now going to find the piece of paper. Here we go. Testing classification. Fastest time was Norby, a 39.0. Actually, that was Gabrielli, 39.0.
Maybe Bernani just edges him by a couple of hundredths.
So no running clocks, but Bernani goes fastest of all. Muller 2nd, Marr 3rd, Loeb 4th, Lopez 5th. Bernani, Muller, Marr, Nicky Katzberg now 4th, ahead of Hugo Vallant. So Loeb and Lopez down to 6th and 7th. Don't forget, in this session, top 5 will go through, and since we can't show you any of those on screen, John Philippi hasn't left the pit lane yet. We saw him sitting there, not quite sure why he wouldn't have gone out.
There we go. We've got some, Chilton's put a banker lap in the Chevy. He's down in 9th at the moment, but he's definitely capable of getting down with these quick boys and getting into the top 5.
That would be a doors open. That would suggest a software issue. The car doesn't want to start, or doesn't want to rev, or doesn't want to something. It's not brakes or tyres or transmission or any of the grubby oily bits, because they'd be under or behind or inside, not opening the doors and looking in. On board with Sebastian Loeb. Great view of all the extra levers there beside the driver's gear shifter, and how the matte black paint on them has been worn off in just a couple of weeks. Bernani, Muller and Marr, Katzberg and Vallant. Those are your fast five at the moment, with 4 minutes remaining. Time for one more lap. So not going through into Q3 will be this man, Sebastian Loeb, or Jose Maria Lopez, or Norbert Michelis, or Tom Chilton, Rob Huff, or Thiago Montero. And not going anywhere at all at the moment is John Philippi. And in fact, if Montero doesn't find a better lap, Matt, he's going to start 11th with Gabrielli 13th.
Yeah,
there will be some long, hard looks at things at Castrol Honda if that is the case. Some very long, hard looks at things.
Especially when Michelis is out qualifying the pair of them again. Well,
I'm almost thinking it's not about the driver's speed. I think it's about the way that they go about qualifying.
New covers on for Katzberg.
Norby never seems to give up on trying to get into the top 5, whereas the Castrol Hondas seem quite keen always to go for the 10th position.
Katzberg's looking for front end. He's moving his tyres off his front, repressuring them onto the rear, and new covers going on the front. So he's looking to move the balance to the front end of the car for that, obviously that midfield section.
Tell you what, they don't have long. It's 1 minute and 48 for a fast lap, 1 minute and 40 for a fast lap. There's 2 minutes 40 on the clock. So anybody who's not off their jacks in 30 seconds has got no chance of starting a quick lap. It sounds like it's revving cleanly, but then with a turbo engine, it's not so much about whether it sounds like you've got a misfire. A lot of the time, it's whether it's giving you the right boost and all of that, isn't it? You know, there's so much intricacy now in these engines.
Yeah, it's all guys with laptops shooting them, isn't it? Yeah. Muller's obviously thinks he's safe. So
you know, you think back to your M3. If it had a misfire, everybody could hear it halfway around Donington. Nowadays, if it's not producing 30% of its power, it still sounds just the same. It doesn't produce the same.
And it would be a guy with a screwdriver and a pair of pliers.
Yeah, and a big hammer. I don't think you're ever allowed to use a 4-pound lump hammer on anything out of Munich. I think it had to be much more finessey than that, though.
That's compromised Philippi a bit. That's a bit naughty of Michelin.
Philippi flashing the headlights.
Catching everybody coming out on their outlap, so.
Yeah. Which is unfortunate for him, because this is his go, isn't it? This is what he's got. Let's hope Vallant gets out of the way. Come on, Hugo.
No.
Nobody is really helping at all. Nobody's looking in the mirrors, and that's pretty
poor,
shoddy
actually.
work by the teams as well. I know all their guys are on a bit of a hurry up, but you've got one guy trying to get the qualifying lap out.
I'd be pretty checked if I was John Philippi there.
Yeah.
Like, they're all driving around.
They're all meandering around with thumbs up bums and brain in neutral. You know, that's cost him half a second, a second and a half.
Oh, it's blown it, mate.
Yeah. And he's doing all he can do, and unfortunately everybody is out there. Oh dear. Things aren't looking good for Ivan. Well, Ivan's not going anywhere.
No,
There's only
Ivan's
40 seconds left in the session. He's trying to drive around the outside of Bernani to get the Moroccan out of the way.
Bernani's nicely held him up and then going for his quick lap.
Yeah, well, Bernani's slowed down to get himself a good exit out of the final corner without looking in the mirrors. But again, that's shoddy work by all the teams, because they should be telling their drivers, you've got a guy on a quick lap coming up behind you. And if the driver then says, who is it? Philippi, oh, never mind him.
No, mate, you should be astute.
But they don't all do that.
They can't see their way around
the teams know when they send you out, the guys on the pit will know that there's a guy out there on a quick lap, because they've got the same screen that we have. And if I know, and let's face it, I don't know much, then they should know as well. Lopez's car's got a lot of attitude, hasn't it? I thought Huff's did as well. Huff was really standing it on the nose. Is it me, or are the cars looking more compliant, more rolly, and more, especially, I mean, I don't know how much anti-dive they have built in, but it really looks like Huff's car is diving a lot, and I don't know whether that's what they're doing to it.
The times are close at the moment. 6/10 back to 11th. Montero in 11th, so they only need to find a fraction to move themselves up and even break into that top 5.
Well, will Muller stay in the top 5? Checkered flags out. Does Huff go in? No improvement, 10th place. Now, will Montero go quicker and get the race to pole? Lopez stays 3rd, Loeb moves up to 4th. Chilton is 10th, Huff is 11th. So Tom Chilton on pole for race 2, and only Chilton still has to take the checkered flag, so he can bail out now and go straight back into the pits. So Bernani fastest of all, Muller 2nd. Tom, you don't need to try hard, you're already in 10th. You don't want to improve anymore. So, Bernani, Muller, Lopez, Loeb and Marr go through. All 5 cars are Citroens.
Chilton's just moved himself off the front row of the grid.
Yeah. Now, it might be me, but again, why is the team not saying, Tom, you're in 10th, just come into the pits now?
Yeah.
Why did he complete the lap?
Yeah, 100%.
Is it me?
No. No, it's not
So
you, Martin.
sometimes I look and I go, no, I haven't understood that right. But I had understood that right. He was in 10th. Everybody else had taken the flag. What are they doing?
So, Michelitz gets pole for race 2 in his Honda.
And Tom Chilton snatches 3rd on the race 2 grid from the jaws of pole.
Montero's sneaked in there as well, hasn't
So
he?
who ended up 10th?
It's an all Honda front row for this race 2.
So Norby ended up 10th when he should have been in 9th. So Norby's been gifted pole by Roal.
Yeah, all Honda front row. So that's they've managed to snatch something out of nothing there.
Well, they were handed it on a plate, weren't they? They'd have had one. Norby would have been 2nd, Thiago would have been 3rd. But as it is, as you say, it's an all Honda front row for race 2. They could end up winning a race here.
And an all Citroen shootout for Q3.
Yeah. Well, look, you know, in Shanghai, thought, okay, or even in Motegi, when Thiago started to go away, thought, okay, he's not got long before the Citroens get by and come after him. And in Shanghai, you sort of thought the same thing. But here, with the long straight down to the hairpin and back, and with a longish straight from 11 to 12, and then 12 down to 1, you think, come on, you're not going to be able to stay away from the Citroens for long. So whatever else happens over lunch, Norby and Zoltan Zengo need to sit down with the Castrol Honda guys and Thiago and go, right, here is the plan. We're going to go and we're going to try and get a Honda win here. And whoever's first into the first corner, uncontested,
needs to bolt, and the other one
has
needs
to
to
go,
hold him
and
back.
the other one has to defend, no matter whether you wish it would have been you or not. Well, now this is going to be an interesting chat with Tom Chilton afterwards. What was going on? Because the driver knows what time he's set, Matt. It's on his dash, and his current lap is probably on his dash.
Yeah, but you don't know the
but he
position
doesn't have
you're
the
in.
timing screen
No.
for everybody else.
No.
And that's what the guys on the Pratt purchase are for. That's what the pit wall team is for.
But I know, I mean, in all fairness to Chilton, he'll just be desperate because he doesn't want to get bumped out the top 10.
No, absolutely.
So that's what he's going to be critical for. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's a game changer, that is, on your weekend.
Fantastic result for this gentleman down here. Norby, that was superb.
I wouldn't say fantastic. Fantastic was Motegi. I always prefer to be more close to the front, but you saw that performance-wise, unfortunately, we are not able to fight for Q3. So then, if you have that information, of course, the next target is to aim for 10, which we achieved. So, yeah, I'm quite happy about that.
Well, I'm very happy about the fact that you're P1 for race 2, Norby. It gives you a fantastic chance.
Yeah, of course, considering the long run pace we had yesterday, especially in free practice 2, should be possible to go faster, but I don't really know how the others are going to be in the second race. Of course, if you have much faster cars going through the field from around 10, quite easy. then it's going to be more difficult. But yeah, starting from P1, the target is to win the race.
Just put those elbows out wide, you'll be fine.
Well, there's the deal, isn't it? As we said, you've got to sit down with your fellow Honda driver on the front row and go, okay, guy, we're going to drive to the first corner, and then one of us is going to go away and the other one is going to defend like Billy-O. Because the Citroens will have a few cars to get through, but not that many.
Here with Tom Chilton, who's second best of the Chevrolet drivers. But Tom, you're on pole position. You could have got into the pits, not completed the lap and taken pole for race 2, but you bumped yourself up for race 1, but you missed out on pole for race 2.
Do you know what? It was quite nice to actually start qualifying as I left off, which was P1. Sadly, we couldn't stay there, and as soon as we couldn't stay there, you start thinking, right, points, and you're right, reverse grid. If I can get P10, you start pole. The problem in the pit lane is, for some reason, none of the timing's working, so my guys couldn't see any sectors, so they couldn't tell me, oh, Tom, I bought this and come in and or go again or hold back in case you get the reverse pole. So I literally just had to go out there and push and do the best that we possibly could. And P8's still good. I mean, still got some points and you get a reverse grid. It's still very good. So, yes, I want to be on front row, mate. I mean, geez, but at the end of the day, I'm happy where we are.
And also your team actually didn't know where you were in relative terms to the rest of the pack.
No, so it was very hard, and I'm not a mind reader, sadly. I'm not Yoda.
Fair enough. Well, good position anyway in P7.
Yes, thank you.
All right, well, there's the explanation. The pit wall timing monitors are clearly even more flaky than ours here in the booth, so we could see about half the session. You could see on screen almost none of the timing, and looks like we got no running clocks for the single car shootout. However, Citroen have at least managed to get Ma out on his warm-up lap in the time allotted, so they haven't miscued on that one again this year. So Ma goes first, Loeb second, Lopez third, Muller fourth, and Bernani will be last to go. Now, Bernani's been in top 5 shootouts before, but he's not often been the last one to go. Often he's sitting and after doing his lap, watching some of his teammates and his rivals go. So it's going to be an interesting dynamic for him, going last of all and trying to beat his illustrious teammates, including the guy, Sebastian Loeb, whose team actually runs Bernani's car and Ma's car, in fact, for that matter.
Yeah, I'm just not convinced on, the way we all go around and everyone's whooping around. They've qualified 9th and 10th and they're whooping around that they've got 1st and 2nd on the grid. It is what it is, and it is the rules, but Norby had a nice attitude to it. Yeah, I'm on pole, but it's not where I really wanted to be. I wanted to be in the top 5. So
well, and the other slightly disappointing thing for Tom Chilton is that he is battling Norby, who's the points leader in the Yokohama Trophy, who starts 2 places in front of him on that race 2 grid, even though he starts 2 places behind him on the race 1 grid. And he's also battling Mehdi Bernani, who's second in the Yokohama Trophy points, who is going to start in the top 5 here for race 1, no matter what else happens, because he's already in the top 5 shootout. So Tom is behind his 2 main rivals in one of each of the races. He's behind one of them in each race. So he's not actually starting in front of both of them in either of the 2 races, but there you go, I suppose. Then you just got to see what happens as it goes along. But Tom needs the points.
Now braking incredibly late into that turn 3 hairpin. Commitment to Erie.
Was that a lift?
Through there.
Didn't sound like it, did it?
He's pressing on.
They were reckoning that on fresh tyres, that should be flat, turn 4.
He's a very strong first sector, probably the fastest of the weekend so far.
Is that a Copse Corner flat, or is that a Bridge Bend flat?
Well, that's a good question.
Copse Corner flat is sort of fairly frequently flat. Bridge Bend flat is a swallow hard and hope you don't have to do it too many more times flat.
He's taking a few liberties with his track limits there. You can see he's just starting to struggle with the front end of it. Struggling to make the apex through there, but not long to go now. Through 12.
Final corner. Keeps 2 wheels on the track.
That's a solid time. Will it be pole? I'm not so sure, but it could be good enough for top 3 possibly.
Yeah. So
It's going to be tight.
1:38.333 for Ma.
Yeah, with these guys, it's definitely going to be tight.
It's going to be interesting, isn't it, to see who really... Loeb making sure there's plenty of heat in the rear tyres then, doesn't he? I think he's got the power split front to rear.
I think it's
Not
more
quite right there.
because obviously they have the tyre blankets, etc. But he's trying to make sure that the tyres are scrubbed in. You know, they've got a bit of mechanical grip as well as taking the sheen off the new cover. So you want to make sure it's there when you arrive at turn 1 at 230 kilometers an hour.
Yeah, you want the rubber to be on the track, not some mould lubricant. So Ma's lap time, 1:38.333. And Sebastian Loeb. Actually, Loeb on his out lap set quicker sector times than Ma had previously done. And he's faster in sector 1 as well. Oh, fully committed and fully 4 wheels off.
No, he's down on Ma in sector 1 by 1/10.
Yep. This lap can't count. He had all 4 wheels over the white line.
So did Ma,
Did he there?
Yeah. It's close. Closed it down a bit. Pulled a few hundreds back on him. It's going to be tight at the end of the lap.
So are they going to ignore the fact that they're exceeding track limits in the top 5?
Well, they haven't pulled anyone in qualifying, have they?
No. Which doesn't mean that they won't ping them later.
2, 6, 7 on the way to the right under 8. Third gear. And then down another gear. Oh no, sorry, I'm confused.
End of the lap. 71 thousandths, 14 hundredths up. So he goes faster than Chinquan Ma.
And he found a big chunk in sector 3 there.
Yeah, he did, didn't he? So Loeb fastest, Ma second, and Jose Maria Lopez starting or continuing his warm-up lap. He comes out of curve 11 here, down to the final corner. So he was out quite early. So 1:38.333 for Ma, 1:38.185 for Sebastian Loeb. And our world champion starts his lap.
Tweak on the brake bias.
Yeah. Now, clockwise, is that moving it rear, do you think?
Depends which way you got went round.
Yeah, obviously. Which way would that move it in your car?
Probably forwards.
Okay.
But then we also have another lever. If you push it forwards, it goes backwards. And
Right
if you push it
hand
backwards,
is to
goes
move
forwards.
it intuitively.
Yeah.
You'd move it
Clockwise.
Yeah, clockwise. So that would be forwards, or you'd want it to be forwards, because you're more likely to want more at the front than. Now, see,
moving around a lot.
Yeah, however, he managed to keep at least 2 of his wheels inside the white line between 5 and 6. So you don't have to run out wide. You can actually stay within track limits.
Close on the time.
And he's only 6 thousandths down.
Yeah.
So Lopez engineer could quite justifiably go and protest the other 2 laps at race control, saying they exceeded track limits.
Oh yeah, but I think Lopez was taking a few liberties on the apex there. Now, Loeb found a big chunk in this last sector, so Lopez needs to be on the top of his game to...
That's smooth though, how early he was on the power on the exit. And fastest by a quarter of a second.
Hasn't he just?
Yeah, that was really smooth as well. And again, you know, he does this. He sets quick laps without having to use all the runoff area. You've made comment on it many times before. Victoire looks pretty happy with that. I think Pachito might be as well.
First guy to break
37.9.
the 38 barrier. Yeah, 1 minute 38 barrier.
Yeah. Well, that is the gauntlet thrown down now for Ivan Muller and Mehdi Benani.
Yeah, Muller will be getting that through the radio. He'll know what to go for now, so he'll know he's got to hang it out. And I would imagine his engineer will tell him a lot of it is in sector 3.
Interestingly, Ivan was all 4 wheels inside the white line at turn 12, the last corner, starting this lap. So Mar watches. Mar at the moment is 3rd of the 3. So coming down to the hairpin, they really do dive, don't they? Huge stop there, down from 6th to 2nd gear.
It almost looked too clean and in control. You know, the others have been arriving there with locked up brakes and standing on its nose. Now, it was either quick or not committed enough.
Listen, listen, listen. Oh, that sounded fairly flat, didn't it? Now, 5-6, does he stay on the track? Or does he run out wide?
Good sector 1, it's not where it counts. The real technical sector is 3.
Yeah, he ran out a little wide, but again, I think he had at least 2 wheels on the track there.
No,
3-7, what about
5.
8? Does he cut this all the way inside the white line? No, again, they're behaving themselves a little better than they did earlier. But where's all that time gone, Matt? Where did that go?
Well, whether he came out the throttle when he got to from the exit curve, maybe. Way down to the last corner now.
We talk about it like it's a lifetime. It is 0.3 of a second. I mean, it's a tiny amount of time. Will he bring it back to the line? No, still 0.3 back. 3rd place at the moment. And Mehdi Benani will be out on his warm-up lap. The last to go will be the Moroccan. What was Benani's time in Q2?
38.3, wasn't it? I think.
It was a 38.261, and that at the moment would put him in 4th ahead of only Mar. So he needs to go quicker than he's ever been to get through. I know that was in Q1. I don't have his Q2 time. So let's see what he can produce. I can find it. Because I can't find it because my
38.16.
38.16.
Which would put him P2 if he could do
Yeah.
it.
That could be very, very interesting. $78,000 up. Imagine that. Imagine if he does, though. Imagine if he out-qualifies all the Citroen stars. That's controlled, but he carried the speed.
Yeah, it does
How
look
much did he
tidy.
have to lift? It's a clean lap.
Car looks good. Good attitude on it.
Didn't exceed the track limits. And yet he's really leaning on it, isn't he? Oh, there he goes, all 4 wheels off. I don't think they're going to penalise anybody, though, as you said, in qualifying. 1400s down, and this would leave him, I think, 3rd ahead of Muller.
No, I think he'll be... that will
Let's see
have
if
cost
he's-
him.
Well, let's see how much it costs him. Can he get the final corner close? At the moment, Lopez is on pole, and Loeb will start alongside. Can Benani put himself on row 1 of the grid? Will he go 2nd? 4th place. Behind Lopez, Loeb and Muller. So Pachito claims his 6th pole of the season. And that now gives him a 13th career pole. Ahead of him, Alamenu on 15, Gabriele Tarquini on 17, And predictably, Ivan Muller on 28. So he's now halfway to Muller's all-time tally. And continuing on. Well, that was a good qualifying effort from Banani, 4th fastest. When you're in amongst Citroen's Galacticos, any speed in amongst them is a good run. And I thought he produced
Pole
a good
position
effort.
for this crucial weekend of the World Touring Car Championship. The championship leader, Pachito Lopez. That means that you just need a couple of points to wrap up this championship. A real emotion there when you saw you took pole.
Yeah, I think it's normal. It's a crucial time. I was a bit on trouble in Q2. I was P7 with my set. I felt really confident, but you know, sometimes these things happen every time, all the time. So never really arrive. I think in all championship, relaxed to Q3. You know. So I went for it. The tension. I felt the tension. I felt everything. You know. So it was a good lap. You know, I put all together, and of course, the emotion after when I saw I was in pole. Of course, you know, it's a title decider, so a lot of things are happening in my body. I had a tough 10 days, and, I'm quite happy for that.
And how does that affect your emotion going into race 1 now? You will still feel the same pressure, or, you know, you've got less points now to really round out the championship?
Yeah, I know, but I just don't like the feeling. I really don't like the feeling that everybody stop me and say, hello, champ, hello, you know. You know, my life has been pretty tough. I just don't want to make it. Everybody think that I'm crying, but I lost championship. I won championship once. You know, like it was like this one. You know, everything was in my plate, and everybody was thought that it was easy win. And in motor races, it's never easy win. You know, especially when you have teammates that on the caliber that I have. You know, even if it seemed a dominant season for me, every time they were fighting and really working on the setup, on trying to improve. You know, it's always tough. So, you know, I just want to try to finish the championship, but I'm not thinking on it. I just try to keep focused in the car. When I'm in the lap, when I was in qualifying, I felt the tension. It's not the same thing as the races before, of course. But, you know, it's important that we're still there. My juniors did a great job. The team, again, did a fantastic job putting 5 Citroens in top 5 again, and it's impressive. You know, with a team like this, it's always easier. You know, thanks to Citroen and everybody.
Well done.
Thank you very much.